Hello, everyone. Rich Gonzalez, board member with the Greater St. Louis Association of Umpires. And today I'm going to be going over the answers to our quiz we sent out to the JUCO umpires for the DH rules. I will be giving rule references and answers to the questions. My challenge would be to everybody who's not a JUCO umpire, take these questions and apply them to the high school rule book as we are getting very close to the high school season started. And these rules apply for the 2021 season as everything can change from year to year. Please look for updated videos if you're watching in the future. I just want to take an additional second here to give a thanks to Brett Bogner, who created the test and the slideshow that we're about to view. So special thanks to Brett. Couldn't have made this without him. So without further ado, our first question is: at the pregame meeting, the home team head coach submits a lineup card with 9 players. It is not mandatory that a team designate a hitter for the pitcher, but failure to do so precludes the use of the designated hitter for that team that game. Is this true or false? That answer is false. False on that answer. The rule that applies is Rule 7-2-B3. Okay, second question. The current batting lineup is Abel, Baker, Charles, Daniel, Edward. Charles, who had batted leadoff for the entire season, is put in the third position for this game. Charles, expecting to lead off, bats first, not realizing he is listed third, and strikes out. Baker comes to bat next and doubles. The home team head coach appeals that Baker batted out of order. The correct answer to this question is to rule Daniel out, remove Baker from second base, and bring Edward up to bat. This is, of course, the batting out of order rule, which in the college rulebook is Rule 7-11-A2. And you can pause the video and read up top for that. Next question is: the home team player Jones is listed in the lineup as both the starting pitcher and the designated hitter, P/DH. He gives up 3 runs without getting an out in the top of the first inning, and the head coach wants to remove him as the pitcher. Can he do this? Jones can be removed as the pitcher but must remain in the DH until he bats at least one time unless the opposing team also changes pitchers. This is Rule 7-2-B2. Which of the following statements is false? The DH is terminated for the remainder of the game when the DH enters the game as pitcher. So there are 3 points here when a DH will be terminated. That's if a pitcher moves to a defensive position, a defensive player becomes a pitcher, and the DH enters the game on defense except as the pitcher. So 1 and 4 very similar there. This is Rule 7-2-B3. So the DH would be terminated and it would be a 9-player lineup where the pitcher has to hit for themselves if any of these 3 things happen. The starting pitcher, DH, is removed as pitcher in the 5th inning but remains in the game as DH a couple of innings later. He shouts an offensive comment to the plate umpire after a play at the plate and is ejected. What is his penalty? It is an ejection plus an additional 1-game suspension. Remember in college baseball that it is the umpire who gives the suspension. It's an automatic suspension by rule. Remember to have a very long leash with ejections, as this is the case. It is an automatic 1-game suspension. And this is under Rule 2-26-E. Please read the top as it does have the actual text from the rule. Next question. The DH is called out on strikes. He argues and is subsequently ejected from the game. The DH position is now terminated for this team for the remainder of the game. True or false? It is false. This is Rule 7-2-B4. And remember, they do not have to announce that substitute until the DH's next time at bat. So you can have 2 innings where the DH is not named yet. We have another batting out of order question. The lineup is Abel, Baker, Charles, Daniel, Edward, Frank, George, Henry, Irwin. Daniel leads off the bottom of the 5th inning and hits a double. Edward grounds out for the second out. Henry bats in place of George, gets a base hit, but is thrown out trying to advance to second base. Daniel scores before the 3rd out. While the home team is warming up for the top of the 6th inning, the visiting head coach appeals that there was batting out of order to end the previous half inning. The correct answer to this question is that the appeal is allowed, George is out, and no run scores. We did have everybody who got the email with their test results had this one marked wrong. It was a mess up. Remember, when batting out of order occurs, the opposing team has until the next pitch to either team or the next play or attempted play. Infielders crossing the foul line is not part of this rule. This applies to only batting out of order and not appeals plays. Continuing with the theme of batting out of order, the lineup is Abel, Baker, Charles, Daniel, Edward, Frank, George, Henry, Irwin. Baker leads off to start the game and grounds out. He is followed by Abel, Charles, Daniel, Edward, Frank, George, Henry, Irwin over the next couple of innings. In the top of the order is due up in the 4th. Abel comes to bat and hits a single. The opposing team head coach appeals that Abel is batting out of order since Baker led off the game. This, of course, is not batting out of order because the last batter was Irwin. So the next proper batter is Abel, and simply not being able to take advantage of the first batting out of order because Baker led off the game has no bearing on the situation. Next question. In a 10-player lineup, Daniels is the pitcher and Oscar is the DH. In the 5th inning, Oscar replaces Daniel on the mound and will continue to bat. Daniel is removed from the game. Oscar is the pitcher DH. In the 8th inning, Wilson replaces Oscar on the mound. Oscar will now be Wilson's DH. Is this legal? Absolutely 100% legal, going from a 10 to a 9 to a 10 as long as the DH comes in as the pitcher. In a 9-player lineup, Daniel is the pitcher DH. Oscar pinch hits or runs for Daniel. Daniel will remain as the pitcher and Oscar will become the DH. Later in the game, first baseman Baker moves to the mound and Daniel moves to the first base. This is illegal. You cannot do this. This is Rule 7-2, Note 1. And that's the end of our quiz. A quick little refresher quiz for DH. I didn't read out all the rules at the top, so make sure you go back, pause the video, read the rules, get into the rule book, go look them up. If you think something's wrong, leave it down in the comments. Again, I challenge all high school umpires, take these same questions and apply it to high school rules. Get in the rule book, look it up, and see what you would do in that situation in high school. It's a great practice. If you have questions, leave them in the comment, reach out to a senior umpire, and we will see you in the next one.